What would happen if you hired a tiny yellow convertible K car and drove through the mountains south of Osaka having done zero research on where you were going? Well, luckily for you, if you've ever had that oddly specific question, I'm here to answer it. Today's video puts the capital A in adventure. We drive on some of the best roads I've ever seen, get completely lost in the snow in a convertible, and wrap up the day with a coastal drive. If that sounds like your kind of fun, stick around because I'll show you exactly where we went so you can do it too. I'm Pat, this is 2PJZ, and today we're continuing our Japan adventure by taking a Honda S660 through the mountains of Wakayama. Good morning everybody. Today you join me doing something incredibly exciting. We have this wicked little yellow Honda S660. We're here in Japan in Wakayama, which is about a couple hours just south of Osaka on the train. We're down here today exploring an area of Japan that I've not really done much research on. This is all going to be brand new, just on the fly, seeing what we can find. I've heard it's a very, very beautiful part of Japan down here in Wakayama and the wider Nara region up in the mountains where we're going. But of course we had to start with the S660 and 7-Eleven, which is such an iconic Japan place. We've jumped in and grabbed some snacks. Now we're ready to go. This whole thing was actually Erin's idea because she kept seeing S660s, particularly around Nismo Festival and around Mount Fuji, which you would have seen the Nismo Festival video by now, and if you haven't, go and check it out. But this was your idea.
This was, yeah, I spotted this one and thought it was adorable. So today I got to choose the car, which is very exciting. Mind you, I didn't realise that it was totally convertible and freezing cold and so tiny. So seeing Pat squeeze into it is going to be quite the challenge.
Yeah, I barely fit inside, as you're about to find out. So we've only literally just come around the corner from picking it up. So before we get going, I thought I'd do a little walk around of the S660 if you're not familiar. I'm assuming because you've clicked on this video, you either just like watching my stuff or you've found me because you like these cars. But if you're the former, the S660 is a K car, and a K car in Japan is essentially a car that has to be under 660cc in power for it to comply with the strict K car regulations. You'll see a lot of them in Japan. They have these yellow number plates, like there's a few in the car park. There's that one over there in the corner. These two here are all K cars. It's cheaper maintenance, cheaper registration, just cheaper overall ownership to have a K car, and with so many cars on the road and so many small roads here in Japan, it's a really popular choice, and you see them absolutely everywhere. There aren't really that many big cars on the roads here anymore. So the S660 weighs 830 kilograms, which is super, super light, and even though it only has 63 horsepower, it's got a mid-engined rear-wheel drive layout, which is something you only really see in supercars. So a lot of people call the S660 a baby supercar, and I've always been really, really interested to drive one to find out for myself if that's actually true. It's a cool car. I've always really wanted to drive one and just experience it and see what it's like. So without further ado, let's get stuck in and see what this car's got to offer. So I literally barely fit inside this thing. Like, I'm 6'2", just for reference, and my head sort of hits the back here. We made the mistake of bringing a couple of backpacks. I assumed there was a little bit more space in the front of this car, which is the front boot, because obviously the engine's in the back, and there's obviously not. So I've got the seat all the way back. Even like trying to film this for you is quite difficult because my knees like rub up against the steering wheel. So if you're a bigger person and you want one of these cars, it might be a good idea to definitely get the car, I think, but invest in some form of lowered bucket seat just so you can actually enjoy the experience a bit more. But let's get on the road. One thing I'm a little bit worried about are these very grey clouds over in the distance. See how we go with those, but hopefully it's clear, because it's clear sort of behind us. And I just don't want it to rain because it's going to be a bit challenging to get the roof on this thing should it actually start raining.
A few moments later.
So we got to put the roof on because literally before we even left, it's started to rain. I just got to figure out how to do this. Before we get too much further in, I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button. I've set myself the ambitious goal of 50k subs by the end of the year, and the majority of people who watch these videos haven't subscribed to the channel yet. The more of you that jump on board, the bigger and better these adventures will get. I'm really trying to do something different with my car content and try and bring something fresh, engaging, real and raw to your feed. So I'm incredibly grateful for your support. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you couldn't already tell, today's activity was, well, impulsive. At this point in our trip, we were getting towards the end and decided to swap out some of our non-related car plans to go for a drive instead. Now, I had zero idea where to go. So, like any good traveler, I went on Reddit, found 2 random points on a map and set the GPS. We've made it now to our first little stopping point of the day. There's a lot of traffic on the roads today and the highways around here are only like 70 to 80 k's max, so it's going to take another hour and a half still to get to this really good driving road that I found online. But I thought, while the rain stopped, we can actually take the roof off. So I'm going to let Aaron grab the camera and I'll show you how to take the roof off. So on the underside of the car, there's a clip here. There's one here in the middle which you unclip, and then one on the other side. And then the roof very simply over onto itself and you sort of roll it like this. Then once it's rolled on that side, you just grab it. At the front of the car here, you undo this little red tag, you take out the backpack and the snacks. As I said, I think at the start of the video, there's not much storage space in this car, so chuck the roof in there, water bottles and things, you just have to like find some space for in amongst the roof. Now ready to go again. With the roof off, now we were living. Driving through Japan is beautiful enough in a normal car, but throw the roof off in a car like the S660 and it adds a whole new level to the experience. Passing through tiny villages in the valleys, away from the big skyscrapers and traffic we'd become so accustomed to over the past couple of weeks, I felt an incredible sense of peace. Then we hit tunnel after tunnel, cutting straight through the mountains, a sign that could only mean one thing: the twisties were near. Even though the roads were wet and I didn't exactly feel like testing how driftable the S660 was, I couldn't resist sending it into a few corners to see how balanced it felt. And while terrifying on the highway, the S660 came into its own once we hit the technical sections of road. As we climbed higher, the trees and roofs gradually became snow-capped. So we've just pulled over. I've put in the description box below where we are if you do want to come here yourself, but this is really, really cool. Now we're actually up in the mountains, even though the sky's sort of starting to clear up a little bit. We've got the roof off on the S660 and look at the roof of this restaurant here. It is covered in snow, which is just amazing. It gives this really, really cool backdrop with the Honda. How are you enjoying it so far?
I'm enjoying it so much. It's freezing cold, but it's so fun. I've never been in a convertible before, so I think I chose well for my first time. But it was really cool coming through the mountains and we got spat out of these tunnels and all the trees were just capped in white snow. So this has been really magical. Very cold.
Yeah, it is pretty cold now. Yeah, check this out. The car's going super well. Still learning how to properly get the most out of it because, as I said, it is a mid-engine rear-wheel drive, tiny wheelbase car. It's just so much fun to drive. It literally feels like driving a little go-kart on the street. Just look at it with the roof off. You can put, obviously, the windows down and then you've got this rear window partition like in my old Del Sol that you can put down as well, which is super cool. It's just such a nice, balanced little thing. Driving a convertible K car through snow was, yeah, a pretty strange feeling, and having the roof off while it started snowing a little bit was equally as bizarre. After some spirited driving through these B roads, listening to that tiny turbo flutter away, we slowed down to squeeze through tunnels so small that they had to have been built for toy trains. I can't even imagine trying to squeeze an R34 GTR through these roads. I'm so thankful that we picked up a tiny car. Thank God we have a tiny car. These roads, look at this up here ahead of me. I physically can't move because, wow.
Holy shit.
I've never driven on roads this skinny before. I would love to look directly at you and talk to you, but bloody hell. This is crazy, but this scenery is absolutely stunning. This is just crazy up here. It's the only word I have for it. And even though we had no idea where we were going, the views just kept getting better and better. I cannot get over the scenery around here. Like, look at this. It's just like absolutely stunning. I hope you've enjoyed that little last bit of B-roll that we have taken, that Erin's taken very nicely, freezing her hands off outside of the car. It might look very romantic and fun, and it is, but it's also incredibly cold here today. As you can see before, there's all this snow on top of some of the trees, and it's just awesome. So cool, but so cold.
Spectacular though, genuinely. This scenery is like nothing. I mean, we've seen things like this in New Zealand, I suppose, but to see this side of Japan is incredible. So thank you to Pat for his expert skills on these windy roads.
Yeah, it's not something we expected to do today, but...
No, and so narrow, you would have seen how tight it is. So thank God I chose a tiny car for today, and Pat's so good at navigating his way through these roads and hills. All right, let's
get back on the road. Yeah, we're almost at the spot, and when we get to the spot, which is basically the way we've come up this road, I'm going to drop the pin and the actual Google Maps link in the description below. So if you actually want to do this drive yourself, head to the description and you'll be able to see this particular route that we took from Omashiro Rental Car in Wakayama, and you'll be able to do this whole thing yourself if you want to replicate it yourself one day. Listen to it. Can you hear that? Alright, so we've made it to the location that I just mentioned before will be in the description box below. This very pin that you're seeing, if you've opened up on a separate tab on Google Maps, is this very spot. And I literally found this just by searching. So thank you to the Reddit thread, and I'll link that as well, for actually giving me this location today. So I want to be able to share it with you and show you what it's like. It is stunning up here. This is such a good car for it. I wouldn't recommend taking anything bigger than this up here, because especially on those one-lane roads or some of those tunnels, if you have anything wider, even like a GTR or something, you're going to struggle to actually bring it up here, because with traffic coming the other way, this thing barely fit. It's absolutely terrifying. So keep that in mind, but let's show you around a little bit and then we'll pick a new location to drive to. This is so stunning up here. It looks like it's just out of a postcard. If I do a full little 360 turn, there's Erin. Wow. Wow, it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's one of those things that I really hope it's showing up on camera for you to look just half as beautiful as it looks for me in real life right now, because this is absolutely stunning. From the rental shop, it took maybe about 2.5 hours to get here, with a couple little stops along the way. So I think this is a perfect place to set up for about 5 minutes, have a little protein bar, have a few sips of water, and then decide where to go next. We can either continue going through the hills, because there's this whole area over here to drive towards and see what's over that way, or we can head back down towards the beach. It's about 20 past 1 now, so we should start looking at getting it. We've got to get this back by 7, and obviously we don't want to be driving all day. But if you watched my R34 GTR rental car video, you would see that we were literally driving from 11 till 7, and it was awesome. It was a great day, but the whole idea of this was not to have to go to anywhere super specific, just to be able to enjoy it. And so far we're absolutely loving it. I love the layout of this car. It's literally just like a little go-kart for the road, and it's my first ever mid-engined experience. I've never driven a mid-engine car before, so I've always wanted to drive one of these, because I've always been really fascinated in them since they first came out, and I'm so happy that we've got the opportunity today. I think it's so cool. Little banana car, so cute and yellow.
Little canary.
Of course, no trip is complete without snacks, particularly if you have a hangry girlfriend like I do. Now, the S660 has no storage space, and by no storage space, I mean literally zero. The front completely occupied by the roof, so Erin had my camera bag by her feet all day while our snacks were crammed into whatever gaps we could find. We made the choice to carry on driving towards more Touge roads, and every time we went around a corner, there was yet another jaw-dropping sight.
What experience.
Crazy. Just stunning. It's like, look at that. That is unbelievable.
Carry on.
Yeah, carry on to the Touge road. Little did we know at the time, but things were about to get interesting. I found this random Touge road on the map. It looked like it connected back to the highway, so we figured, why not? So we're apparently trying to find some Touge road that's near a World Heritage listed walking trail that, again, I've got in the description if you want to follow along with where we're going. And it's taking us up this really tiny B road in this town It just doesn't feel right. We're in quite a groove before on another road, and now the road just keeps getting narrower up here. This would have been a great time to turn around. In fact, you can probably hear the hesitation in our voices. But what's the fun in not finding out?
It's weird.
Yeah, it feels like some random abandoned road that we found our way onto. This is strange. It certainly doesn't feel like this is where we're supposed to be going, but hey, look, Google Maps knows everything, so it is. So, up we went. The higher we climbed, the less phone reception we had. The road conditions got worse, potholes, rocks, and then the snow started falling. This is something you truly can't script, and at this point we had completely lost our bearings. Alright, so we are well and truly lost. Sort of at the middle of this mountain now. I think we've been able to get a little bit of reception and find out that we're halfway from the two major roads on this weird little abandoned Touge road thing, and it's now snowing.
I don't know if you can see how...
But it's like it's snowing down sideways. Like, look at the front of the car. That is crazy. Went from being blue sky this morning and now we're stuck in snow.
I just want to get back. I'm glad we put the roof on when we did.
Yes, it's unreal. We've got to figure out how to get back down, but if you've joined this video looking for an adventure, well, you've got one. This wasn't planned. And to make matters worse, now it was raining too. The tarmac disappeared and turned into a loose gravel rally stage. There were rocks everywhere, massive cracks in the road, huge dips. The S660 was absolutely not made for driving like this. I felt so awful driving the S660 on this road, and I was as gentle as I possibly could be. Now that we've just come down from sort of the peak of the mountain where we were before, it's actually clearing up a bit. Oh my god, look how skinny this is. Oh. Wow, this is nuts. Oh god, I feel so bad. I don't want to take this thing down here. Oh my god. It's head straight onto the tire. We really should have turned around, but honestly, the view made it all worth it. And then finally, after another hour of driving down this road, we made it out of the mountains and back towards the coast. Found our way off the road and it went onto a main road for a bit. And then the main road shrunk down to one of those little one-laners that I was talking about earlier today. But we are only 1.5 hours now from drop-off and we've still got heaps of time to spare, so I'm not really worried. This is a really fun adventure regardless, so just happy I've got a tiny car to do it in. This car is so much fun to drive. I haven't even done like a sort of car review of this yet, but it's literally just like a little go-kart. Super fun. When you put your foot down through a corner, because all the weight's in the back, it sort of just like squats down and hugs the road at the back, which is fun. If anyone's ever driven a mid-engine car, I'm sure you'd be able to know what I'm talking about, but I haven't before today, so it's just been awesome. Cool little car. Happy we did it. It's not over yet. It's definitely not over yet. So we've taken the roof off now. I don't know how well you can hear this. Apologies if you can't hear us at all. The roof is off and I think the weather's cleared up a little bit. It's definitely not raining anymore like it was before. And it definitely isn't snowing, that's for sure. But I'm just happy to be off that road now. Still on some very strange little back area. There's like a shrine here.
Very wild.
No one's that. Far Cry 3 moment for anyone who played that. It does seem to be raining again. I just felt something in my eye.
Oh well, we'll see if we can beat the rain by driving faster.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Cars aren't just about speed, they're about experiences. Today, we obviously didn't plan to get lost, but instead of panicking, we made an adventure out of it. What I love about cars is the journeys they allow you to live, and the stories you get to tell. The Honda S660 was the perfect car for this drive. It's tiny, nimble, and fun. I didn't expect much of this car, because when you consider the fact that there's motorbikes out there with much more powerful and larger engines, I wasn't expecting it to even get up the hills, let alone be as fun and entertaining and reliable as it was. Shout out Honda, they did an amazing job with this car. The S660 was the perfect companion to take us to one of our favourite parts of Japan. It's funny to think that we almost didn't even come here, and by some random chance, we made the trek. If you're heading to Osaka and want to do something a little off the beaten track, I highly recommend heading down to Wakayama. It's only a couple of hours on the train, and if you want a fun car, take the S660 from Omashiro Rental. The car was around $130 Australian for the day, plus a marginal amount for fuel and tolls. A crazy cheap price for a truly unforgettable experience. For us, this experience marked the end of our trip to Japan, and it truly was the perfect ending. But don't you worry, because there's still plenty of videos to come over the next few weeks. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video so other people who enjoyed this sort of content can find it, and comment on your favourite part or if you have any questions. Thank you so much again for watching, and if you've loved this, head to my Japan playlist for more videos. This trip was a total dream come true for me, and I hope that's relayed through these videos. I'm Pat, and this is 2PJZ. Stay driven, and we'll see you next week.